Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another episode of Foxborough Central. I am Bob Hickey, your host. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me and my many guests as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. So as we go through life, we often say to ourselves, how can I make a difference? What can I do to do something new? Or nothing new ever happens. I think I've covered everything in those three statements, right? Well, what we're going to talk about tonight is something new, a way that you can make a difference, and something that's really interesting here in Foxborough. So I'm honored to be joined by my guests on my right, your left. Hesh Kagan, how are you doing, sir?
Pleasure to be here.
And you are the president of the Foxborough Rotary Club?
Foxborough Rotary Club. We've been in town as part of the Rotary organization for 48 years now.
Wow, very good. So Hesh is on my right, your left, so I'm going to now go this way and meet old friend, Chief Baker.
Nice to see you.
Feels like talk to you all the time.
It feels very familiar. Nice to be back.
Thank you very much. And Chief Baker is joining us, Foxborough Police Chief since October of 2016. And you've brought many interesting ideas, and we're going to talk about one or a couple of those ideas tonight.
That'd be great.
And those two ideas are the Cop Card Program. Is there a better name for it than that?
No.
I just see this great cop card here on the table.
So it pretty well sums it up. Let me just first, if I can, give the Rotary Club a plug. I had the good fortune of being invited to speak to the Rotary and found the membership of the Rotary a very interesting demographic, very interesting group of people doing extraordinary things in this community. And so I was grateful for that invitation. And that discussion led to a discussion about some of the programs that we want to bring here to Foxborough, some of which we've had success with in other places. And the two of them that came up were the Cop Card program. And this is an example of a cop card. Mm-hmm. And the purpose of the cop card is to have a picture of the police officers. And then on the back, there's a biography, a little bit of the history of the individual officer, and some kind of a personal statement that is hopefully motivational and important to the young people. And it really is intended when we give it to a young person like this outstanding young man here. We give the young people cop cards, and it gives them a reason to engage the police in conversation and learn a little bit about each other as human beings. Okay. And so I might find out, for example, that this guy is a superstar that's performed in a play at the Orpheum Theater, and he finds out a little bit about me and what's important to me by reading the cop card.
Okay.
And so
that young fellow there is Jaden. How are you doing?
Good.
It's a pleasure to meet you, young man. And Jaden Onwaka?
Onwaka.
I almost got it right. I tried. I really did. He is joining us because you and your mom, who is Jury Love, and your sister, Jayla, you are all, now I suppose you're friends with Chief Baker, and you have a cop card. So why don't you tell me about those cop cards? What are they really about? Chief Baker gave me the adult version. Why don't you give me the real version?
The really good part that I really like of the picture is the cop.
Okay. So the police officers are cool? Mm-hmm. They do good work? Mm-hmm. You respect them, like them? Mm-hmm. You want to be one when you grow up?
I'm thinking to be a pilot.
A pilot? Well, that's a good thing also.
You could be a police pilot and drive my helicopter. How about that?
Well, I'm doing planes.
Oh, you're doing fixed wing. No problem. We'll just have to buy fixed wing aircraft for you then. We can handle that.
Chief Baker is an experienced police professional in other countries, and I bet that they have fixed wing experience over there.
They do.
Is that
indeed.
true?
They do indeed. And who is this officer on that card, Jane?
This is Frank Azovedo.
And he's your school resource officer, right? That comes to your school on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
And why does he come to your school on Wednesdays?
Because at our lunch every Wednesday is pizza day.
Oh. So you think he comes for the pizza or because he likes you?
He likes pizza.
Well, clearly there's a connection made, and clearly
Absolutely.
You know who Officer Azovedo is. And one of the great things is he's been a police officer here for many years, and he's at the charter school on Wednesdays. You go to the Foxborough Regional Charter School, correct? Mm-hmm. I see by the uniform, very crisp, good looking. And so we've expanded beyond just our traditional public schools, but also reached out to the charter schools. Is that new this year, or has that been going on for a while?
No, it's been going on. Obviously, the growth of the charter school brings with it additional demands, and so we're looking at the ability of one officer to meet all the demands of all the schools, but our goal is to try and have a connection with, school-age children, whatever school they're in, within Foxborough's borders. So the charter school is an integral part of that program.
Okay. Well, Jaden, you're doing a great job being a guest. I want to thank you for staying on the program. So let's talk to some other people, and then we'll get back to you, okay?
Okay.
So you be thinking about what you're going to say, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Kagan.
Sure.
So how did the Rotarians get involved with all of this, or are you involved with this piece of it?
Well, we are, yeah.
You are? How did that happen?
We're happy to fund the Cop Card program.
Okay.
And we think it's a great program. One of Rotary's focus points is world peace. And to have youngsters growing up understanding that a policeman is truly a friend and a part of the community that they can interact with freely and openly, and have every expectation that that policeman is going to listen to them, going to care about them, going to take what they have to say seriously and personally, is a very important thing. And that can only make things better in the long run. So supporting anything in the community that creates better relationships between citizens and the police force is something that we think is very important.
That's great. And of course, I'm speaking with Hesh Kagan, who is the president of the Foxborough Rotary. You can find out more about the Foxborough Rotary at their website, which, not surprisingly, is www.foxboroughRotary.org. They've got a lot of great information out there, including some upcoming projects, and one of those projects is what I'd really like to talk about next, because it sounds so interesting. But you can also reach out to the Rotary at foxboroughRotary@gmail.com. So very easy to get in touch with. Are you looking for new members?
We are always looking for new members, and rumor has it you might show up at our next meeting.
Is that a rumor that's going to happen?
Yes, we meet the first and third Thursday at noon at the Olive and Mint on Route 1.
Yes, absolutely.
And everyone is welcome.
That is fantastic. So again, the Rotary meets at the Olive and Mint, and they're always looking for good folks who want to come aboard and make a difference in their community. So here in Foxborough, the Rotary has been a very strong organization. I think most of us see you with the Chuck Wagon. I think that's our traditional, focal thing. Everybody has something that they're identified with. What other sorts of projects go on in Foxborough that the Rotarians fund or support?
We raise over the course of the year through parking, off-site parking at the stadium. We raise close to $40,000 a year, and every year we give that all away. That is relatively equally divided into three buckets. There's an international bucket, a national bucket, so to speak, and a local one. On the local budgets, which represents $10,000 to $15,000 roughly. We have a scholarship program. Every year we give around $10,000 roughly to scholarships. We have a number of local organizations we support: KDC, the Discretionary Fund, Doolittle Home, any number of local organizations that we end up helping year after year. The national programs generally are around disaster relief, certain medical programs we support. We recently gave a significant gift to the Cure Alzheimer's Fund. We also support diabetes and other programs that we all have vested interests in, obviously. And on the international programs, we have the peace initiatives, we have clinics in Mexico, India, Guatemala that we support. So there's a lot of activity.
Sounds like a dynamic organization.
We have about 35 members, and as I said, we're always looking for new ones. It's an excellent organization. Rotary is clearly the largest service organization in the world. There are about 1.25 million Rotarians, and most of them are outside of North America. About 40% are North America. So when you're traveling, you could always find another
Rotarian.
Rotary club and go to a Rotary meeting and meet some interesting people and feel like you're walking into an extended family.
Okay, well, great shout out to the Rotarians then, and hopefully folks who might be interested in making a difference in Foxborough reach out to the Foxborough Rotary and become involved.
Now, I should mention the Cop Card program has a second phase to it.
Well, I just wanted to ask. Let's talk about the Cop Card program.
We have the cards, and the police officers all have theirs to give away. But we're also going to have a program focused on the elementary and intermediate schools, junior high schools, where if a child collects 1 or 2 cards.
Are you listening, Jaden?
And it's looking good. You got 2. And does some act of service above self, which is Rotary's motto. Mm-hmm. And then, just kind of documents, writes up a little sentence or 2 as to what it is they've done. And they or their parent can email it to us. We'll be happy to send them a nice little certificate on service above self that they can have. But we'd very much like to encourage the children to understand the concept of service above self, what it means to give and not get, and do some random act of kindness or some chore that they wouldn't normally do, or help a neighbor rake leaves or contribute something to a charity in terms of money or clothing or toys.
Are you listening to all of this?
And there might be a good season to donate toys of some sort. Mm-hmm. And just let us know, and we'll send them something back.
Wow. So you do something good, and something good will happen.
That's right.
All right. So Jaden, what do you think we should talk about now?
These?
Tell me about that. What is it?
I forgot its name.
Challenge coin.
It's a challenge coin.
Tell me about the challenge coin. I see that it's very attractive. On one side, you have a picture of Gillette Stadium, iconic light tower, and on the other side, flip it around, what is it? Ah, that's pretty cool, the Foxborough Police Department police patch. Mm-hmm. So tell us why you would have that coin. What did you do to get that? Did you find it on the street?
No.
Did you put a nickel in a bubblegum machine and get it to come out?
No.
Did you walk randomly down the street and it just fell out of the sky and hit you on the head and you just said, hey, look at this?
No.
Okay, so how'd you get it?
Might have borrowed it from Mom, huh?
Yes.
Maybe we can get a little bit of help from Chief Baker. What do you think?
Absolutely.
It's always good when the police chief will help a kid out, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's ask him. This is called Phone a Friend. All right, so we'll reach out. Chief, tell us about the coin.
Yeah, so the challenge coin was something that we created to recognize our partners in policing. We obviously have quite a lot of responsibility in connection with the stadium, and not something we can do by ourselves with a department this size. So we have probably 15 communities that we collaborate with. Mm-hmm. And to recognize those partnerships and the officers that come over and help us at these major events, we issued this challenge coin, which is says Partners in Policing, picture of Gillette Stadium and picture of the Foxboro patch on the front. Okay. And just as kind of a recognition, the challenge coins have become kind of a thing in the industry over the last 10 or 15 years, and a lot of people collect them. So.
Okay. That's pretty sharp.
Want to talk a little bit about the international exchange?
Well, that is how I was going to segue in, because we have talked about the things we're doing locally, but I also know from you, Chief, that you have a vast amount of experience from a previous program we did. We touched on resume a little bit. Maybe you could share just a touch on the program and how you came to be an advocate or a champion of international policing.
Sure. So in my previous life as Assistant Director of the Justice Department, I managed international police programs around the world. And what that meant specifically was I go in and meet with the President and Justice Minister and do an analysis of the national police force and justice sector and devise a program to enhance it and bring that back to the State Department for funding. And so as a result of living and working in all of these places.
The United States State Department.
Correct.
Yep. Of America.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, as part of.
And yet we're here in Foxborough.
And we're here in Foxborough.
And do people at home realize how blessed we are to have someone of your skill set to be among us?
I don't pretend that they're blessed. I'm the one that's blessed to be invited here to be your police chief. But so I've sort of parlayed those two experiences of being a police chief here in the United States and the international experience, and have found this international exchange program that sends people like the officers that work here in Foxborough into these foreign environments to live and work and get to know a new country and culture has always had a profound effect on the officers involved, a positive, profound effect. And so I'd like to give the officers here in Foxborough that opportunity as well. And I usually do it in a place where I have a history with that country and with the U.S. Embassy there. And so this was another program that I had talked about with the Rotary, and the Rotary's service above self, their international connections, their interest in world peace. Many of the things that the Rotary Club subscribes to gel very nicely with this international exchange program. And so again, they've been very gracious to step up and say, we'd like to be part of supporting that. And as part of our effort to collaborate on this issue, I think we are hoping to reach out to other community partners that might be interested in funding a portion of this as well.
How great that you've been able to find a community partner to be able to support this.
Absolutely.
It's such I wouldn't even know where to begin with that type of a project. So, but clearly your skill set includes all these contacts, and you said embassies that you have relationships with. So how difficult is it to convince an officer to go overseas to create this opportunity? I mean, I just can't imagine just picking up and leaving, and being a police officer is hard enough here. I cannot imagine going elsewhere and learning the cultures and the customs and the different styles and bringing a whole different set of values and perhaps even a different constitution or a different legal system to another country.
I'm new
that type
here,
of exposure.
but I certainly can speak from past experience, and the officers were very excited about it. And again, all of them had just an extraordinary life-changing experience, I think, especially for those who had never had the chance to travel and experience other countries and cultures. And the other upside of it is that we are often able to invite the colleagues from that foreign country to come back and experience policing in a democratic society here. So our hope would be to have 2 officers go,
A true exchange.
and have
Exactly.
and 2 officers come back to experience life and culture here. And so part of the goal of the program would be to have them not only observe the police activity in these foreign countries, but also contribute something to that foreign country by engaging in some level of community service there, and hopefully have at least some kind of a cultural experience to learn a little bit about what makes that particular country and culture unique. So we're very excited about it, and I think it'll be very popular and well received.
Jaden, what do you think about that?
Want to travel?
I'm just putting you on the spot.
You want
Don't
to
worry
travel
about
someplace cool with me? Take a trip?
Well, I took a trip in North Carolina.
North Carolina,
It's a nice
wow.
place. Did you go to the mountain part or the beach part? Or somewhere in between?
Maybe somewhere between.
Yeah, it's a big state. It's a big state. Well, what Chief Baker is talking about is actually sending people that work for him overseas, going to another country, to a whole new place to live and work. It'd be kind of like you going to a school down in North Carolina and then having somebody in North Carolina come up and stay in your house and go to school up here at the charter school. That's
I
called
think
exchange.
you're a lucky guy. You actually have some international connections in your family, huh? What language does your mom speak, for example?
Japanese,
And how about your dad?
Igbo.
See? So this young man has some international connections in his
right.
own right. So I might be going to him as a resource.
There you go.
And I know Spanish and Arabic.
Atta
Do
boy.
you really?
Yes.
What a well-learned young man.
Absolutely.
So perhaps you are the future, and which makes Foxborough a stronger place.
Absolutely.
And maybe
No question.
someday you'll grow up to be a Rotarian who flies fixed-wing pilot airplanes.
That's right.
He's going to get it all done.
There you go. So, and also, did you know he's an actor? He was just in a play at the Orpheum Theater.
I intend to have him sign an autograph before we leave here tonight.
He's a many-talented person.
No
We'll leave
question.
that coin on the floor because you're all mic'd up, right? All right, we'll leave that be. All right, so, Mr. Kagan,
Yes.
as we talk about exchanging and all that, isn't this just an incredibly expensive undertaking? How on earth can the Rotary possibly afford to do this? Seems like you're going to go out of
the
business
Rotary
by
certainly
doing
can
this.
help, it may be a multi-year effort on our part, part of this year's budget, part of next year's budget, but we'll help in any way we can, and we'll also help trying to do some fundraising
There you go.
in the community. we do raise a good bit of money, as I mentioned earlier, but there are lots of ways to spend it.
There are.
And
A lot of many worthy causes out there that need support.
The police exchange program is, from our perspective, very near and dear to our hearts, in as much as we've been doing student exchange programs for many years. Actually, there's still time, if anyone is interested out there that's listening, to apply for a long-term 1-year exchange program that, again, Rotary would pay for.
Wow.
All expenses paid for a high school student to spend a year abroad. There are also short-term exchange programs we have for students in the summer, 4 to 6 week program, but those are a little more casual.
I'm a 51-year-old theater student. Does that count or no? Maybe not me.
There are ambassadorial programs, but I'm not quite sure.
So if somebody wanted to apply for this, sounds like such a wonderful opportunity. I know that folks at home are probably familiar with this, but it always bears repeating. If somebody wanted to reach out and apply, do they do it through the schools, or do they reach out directly to the Foxborough Rotary?
They really should reach out directly to the Rotary program.
At
foxbororotary.org. The school guidance department is aware of this, and it can always help and facilitate. So either way is fine.
What a wonderful program. So you're correct. It does sound as though they have already been doing this.
Absolutely.
So it seems to be the next logical step to support your program. So where do you see your program taking its next step? Are you looking for additional funding? Are you looking for?
Yeah, I think it bears saying that that it is a pretty modest expense, I think, when you think of what comes as a result of it. So the way we put the expense together is basically plane, round-trip plane ticket. And then the State Department has something called a per diem rates that are the average cost of a hotel room and meals per day in each country that the United States is involved in. And so we're talking about a $3,500 program in total. And so I think we're going to be able to reach that goal, and I think it's going to produce positive results. And I think it's important to note that whether it's the Cop Card program or the International Exchange program, these are both programs, and importantly, only manifestations of the philosophy that we're trying to create here, which is, this community policing philosophy. We really are trying to instill a community policing culture where we care about every citizen in Foxborough, regardless of where you come from, what your background and history is, and so these are a manifestation of that culture, and the programs are important, and we hope we can put them together and be successful with them.
Well, that sounds fantastic. We're going to be wrapping up very shortly. Jaden, I'm going to give you the last word, okay? Because you've been very nice to me with us, and you are holding in your hand a police badge. Where did you get that from?
Last time a long time ago, from another day, I went to the police station and I got this.
Okay.
Then I got a couple more.
And you went on a tour at the police station here in Foxborough?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also see the fire station?
Yeah.
And the fire trucks?
Yeah, that was in maybe almost near the last day of kindergarten.
Okay. Wow. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So here, between you and me, and these guys aren't listening, which is better, the police cars or the fire trucks?
Psst, psst. That's my
I do believe, Your Honor, that the witness has been led.
That's tampering with a witness right
That's
there.
all right. Well, we'll have to send
I'll
you
pay
off.
you later, okay?
We'll have to send you out to kangaroo court then. So,
Sounds
Hesh,
good.
I'd like to give you the last word, actually, since the Rotary Club is doing such a great job of supporting the vision and of being a resource to what Chief Baker is implementing here in town. So, on behalf of the Rotary, how can we help?
Well, I think the community is doing a great job, right now. The community supports the police department and the public service in general. The community supports the Rotary Club very happily, and we're very grateful for that. So we think this is a wonderful opportunity to keep going.
From the cop cards to the challenge coins to tours, to the exchange program. Chief Biggers, clearly you have a solid vision, and you are bringing some new things to Foxborough, and hopefully we can keep up and support you in that.
Everybody's been great, and we are very grateful for that support.
I want to thank you both, actually all three of you, for coming out and sharing your story and being on Foxborough Central and telling us of not only the program, but how we can help. So of course, to recap, if you are in a position to help and want to support the Foxborough, the future Foxborough Police Officer Exchange Program, or the current cop cards, or the challenge coins, and all these other wonderful initiatives that Chief Baker is bringing to town, you can reach out to them at the business office at 508-543-4343 and to see how you can be of assistance. The Rotary Club is of assistance, and they're seeking your assistance. If you'd like to support them by either becoming a member or supporting them with one of their future fundraisers, you'll find at their website at www.foxboroughRotary.org, or you can reach out to them at foxboroughRotary@gmail.com.
Super.
Hesh, Bill,
Thank
Jaden, thank you so much for coming out. Hope to see you again. I hope to see you again, folks, at Foxborough Central. We like to hear from you. Feel free to reach out to us at bobh@orpheum.org, and we'll be happy to answer any questions, or if you have an idea for a future program, just might have it. Of course, if you are with an organization here in Foxborough, or if you are an individual who has a special story or something you'd like to share, we'd love to interview you on this program, because we are your community resource here at Foxborough Cable Access. Until next time, folks, I hope to see you here on this, your favorite Foxborough Cable Access channel. I'm Bob Hickey. Have a great day.